Hello, welcome to the Style of Play podcast. I am your host, Kojo. I am joined, of course, by Basil. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
So, man went to go and live it life in America, you know what I mean? Just see some tournaments, and the money guys, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, no, just like everyone else.
But no, it's good. It's good to have you here, of course. Where do we even begin? Football always has drama. International break has come upon us, so someone like me, I'm not really interested in international football anymore. But within that, there's always still drama within clubs. And the biggest news coming out already in the last 24 hours is that Daniel Levy has not even stepped down. He was pushed out, it seems, out of Tottenham by Joe Lewis and the rest of ENIC after 25 years at the club. So, Basil, first things first. Obviously, you are a fan of their direct local rival, but you've seen their ups and downs firsthand. You've seen how they've improved financially big time. You've seen how big that move was from, well, same area, but White Hart Lane to the new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. From the outside looking in, do you think he's done a good job for the club overall?
It depends on how you look at it. I mean, from a football perspective, no. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, I'm a bit upset he's going because maybe Spurs might start to become ambitious, to be honest, in terms of like some of their goals on the pitch. Because I think Daniel Levy, him being there as an Arsenal fan was a good thing because
Mm,
he was more concerned about the commercial and the business side of the club rather than the footballing side of the club. All you have to do is just look at the money spent, some of the players they brought in, the lack of ambition with some of the players that they brought in, and you can see that that has been heavily sacrificed for other aspects of the club,
yeah,
which don't relate to footballing side specifically on the pitch. But but then if I don't know if you look at it objectively, it's like a yes or no. I mean, from a fan perspective, I can understand the frustrations because he hasn't invested in the way they would want it. He hasn't made right decisions from a football inside to make them regularly competitive.
yeah,
But then also you can look at it from a commercials as I'll say is that there's a reason why, initially there's the label of the traditional top six because he has made Spurs relevant. With the stadium, with just the relevance and the marketing of Spurs in terms of how they financially run,
yeah.
because he has run that club extremely, extremely well from a financial perspective. And that has allowed them to kind of be this kind of top six club without maybe spending as much as some of the other clubs in the league. But it's kind of a trade-off because you can say without him, Spurs are not where they are. Spurs potentially without him could be languishing in the likes of ninth, 10th, 11th position on a regular basis. So
Yeah.
because of those finances and because of those decisions, it has allowed Spurs to be competitive somewhat and kind of, be able to rub their shoulders a little bit with the bigger clubs because of those decisions he has made. Obviously, it's like I said, it's a catch-22. He's come at a sacrifice, but because of him, they are there. And financially, they can somewhat compete with some of the other bigger clubs. But like I said, kind of need a balance of that. You need to balance that and have an ambition on the pitch. And I think it has been in balance, but at the same time, you can look at objectively as someone who's not a fan of Tottenham, you can say, well, it's mixed. He has done some good for the club, which has allowed the club to be in a position where they are now.
So I find what you say interesting because when you talk about the stuff that he's done for the club, look, the stadium is is state of the art,
Yeah,
and what they've done in terms of building for NFL for the F1 thing that's in the stadiums on the arcade. Um, the many, 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 many concerts that you have over there. But as much as it's fans criticize it, which I understand because you're making the club so much money, but you're not using it to improve the fortunes. Many times on this podcast on Frame Midfield, when we're doing Frame Midfield, I've said that for me, his biggest failure from this is outside looking in. So any Spurs fans listening, obviously you can give me well, you can say whatever you want in the comments and go further deep into it. For me personally, my biggest failure was you had Spurs were almost in a position to be champions, almost twice under Pochettino, almost. And you just didn't give him the final thing that he was looking for to just elevate because he saw from about 5 months prior that this was their level and they were done. After that, they needed reinforcements. They needed to change some of the players around to take Spurs maybe that step closer.
think
Whether
for
he's
him,
the manager to do that or not, obviously his fortunes have not been great after, so that's another discussion in itself. But at that time, he had you in a position where you could say, you know what, this is the final push now. Give him the keys because he's earned it, and you didn't do that. And with all that poor squad that declined very quickly, you got into the Champions League final. That didn't go well either. But that for me was when I sort of said, you know what, then I can see why now they say he's not the guy. So despite all of the financial stuff on the pitch, you have to bring your level of success. But I was reading something here, and they said that 90% of Spurs fans are happy that he's gone.
there's no. I'm surprised it's not higher. I'm surprised it's higher. I mean, if you speak to the Spurs fans about what they think about Levy, I've rarely found anyone that has a good thing to say about him in terms of how he's run the club and his ambition for the club in terms of them winning things or being regularly competitive. So that 90% doesn't surprise me. The only surprise is that I thought it would be higher than that personally.
I hear that. I hear that because he's just not liked at all. They sing songs about him. They protest about him every time. It's been an awful sort of relationship between him and the players, but not the players, definitely the fans, rather I should say. But well, his time is up now. It's been up. It's done. 25 years at the position gone. Um,
I'll say this, Kojo. The issue you're going to find is in football, like Spurs fans do not like Levy. You're going to find more Levies in football in the next 20 years.
mm,
Everyone coming in is not looking at football from a
sporting standpoint.
standpoint. Is
Yeah,
all commercial. The only people who kind of come in, which is where they come in with a sporting, are those with who are wash with money, and it's their thing to kind of find the joy in kind of winning things. You
yeah,
had it with Chelsea with Abramovich.
yeah,
You have it with City and their owners. You have it with PSG and their owners. You're not like the next wave. Liverpool are a bit of an enigma. I don't know what they're because
mhm,
for a long time I thought maybe it was just commercial, but you can kind of see them loosening the reins and maybe trying to make Liverpool a powerhouse with some of their transfer moves that they've done this summer.
yeah, yeah,
You see it with Arsenal, you see it with Chelsea, Newcastle. You kind of see that they want to be ambitious with their owners, but obviously they're restricted because of the final restrictions that the Premier League have had. But you see it with you're seeing it with Bournemouth, you'll see it with Arsenal, you see it with Chelsea. You're gonna see it with a host of clubs. The
yeah.
owners, no one's doing their due diligence, but owners coming in now are all seeing it from a commercial standpoint. So you're gonna see a lack of ambition from a number of clubs for many years to come because a new wave of owners are coming in are just gonna see football as portfolio building. We can be, portfolio building, we can make a lot of money from it. We can, marketing and branding from it. It just builds their portfolio. And you're going to see a lot of Levi's in football in the coming years because we're not seeing owners who really want to see their clubs successful from a football perspective.
Let me ask the question then. Is that his legacy? And before you answer that, just to follow on, because when you say that,
Mm.
if these owners are looking at his model
Yeah.
financially, as we mentioned earlier, he's made Spurs a bucket load of money. And it's interesting that a team that's only won, in his time anyway, two trophies in his whole time at the club, they've only come back with two trophies, and somehow they were mentioned as part of a big six. So is that his legacy? Because yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the question. Is that his legacy?
What is his legacy? Because obviously, when you like, for instance, if you say word association, if you say Roman Abramovich, the first thing that'll come to most people is winner.
Hmm.
He wasn't just sacking managers for the sake of it if you compare it to Watford. He was sacking managers because, hey, you're not winning regularly. You're not winning things regularly. But obviously, you always, and you hear it from the players, you always hear the mentality is you're here at Chelsea, you're here to win.
Hmm.
When you hear the word Levi, you hear two things: very difficult in the transfer market and commercially savvy. You don't think of Levi from a football perspective or a football success perspective. Whereas when you look at Roman Abramovich, we look at all the trophies he's won, the two Champions Leagues, the Man of League titles, the Man of FA Cups, and also some of the managers he's brought in from Ancelotti to Mourinho, who are winners. So you associate him with like winning. When you hear the word Levi, you don't associate any of that. The first thing people say is stingy with money. Commercially savvy, very difficult to deal with in the transfer market. You hear it from the likes of Simon Jordan and the likes of a lot of people who deal with him. So so that's his legacy, unfortunately.
It's funny. It's funny you mentioned
If you
Mourinho.
have more success on the pitch, then obviously it'll be a different kind of legacy. But he didn't.
It's funny you mentioned Mourinho because when he brought in Mourinho, I remember saying, "Oh, okay, you really want to win now." And then was it a week before the final?
No, no,
You
no, no.
sacked.
Yeah, was it?
It
I'm
was
pretty.
a couple of days before the final for sure. Yeah, you fired him and put Ryan Mason in charge. Right? It was just
He has Conte. Conte ran for the hills. Let's not forget that. And look at the trophies Conte's won since then.
yeah, yeah. And to be fair to Conte, I keep saying this now. No matter what Spurs fans felt of that rant, I think they were second or third when you ranted that day. That day, but I was like, why are you guys taking that? It's not all Spurs fans, some. Why are you taking it so negatively? This is a guy that's saying, are you guys satisfied with second and third? You should want. I want to win here. Do you not want to win? Like this episode. If these players are going to be making all these issues and you're going to make excuses for them, you and the media, then keep making excuses for them. That's why you don't win. And that's what Daniel Levy was, because Daniel Levy ran and said, well, I hear what these guys are saying, so get out. Well, what do you mean? He wants to help you win the trophy, no?
That's it, Roger. Like they had world-class players or top quality players in Son and Kane and
Yeah.
didn't be effective around that. You think of any other club, big serious club in world football, if you have that level of talent, you build on top of that. You say, hey, we added more quality because we have two proven winners who can win you games. Just add a bit more. But obviously, we're satisfied with just having those two and not recruiting effectively to
Yeah.
kind of share the burden and have a team that can effectively challenge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they've escaped what they will call their hell. So we'll see what happens now. Just quick one before we move on from Spurs. There has been little murmurs, nothing concrete. So I'm not gonna give it the allegedly tag. I'm just gonna be like, this is little conversations that I've heard on social media that there's a little bit of interest from Saudi. If
Mm.
if Spurs were to get a Saudi owner, an ambitious Saudi owner, do you think we'll be looking at potential? I know you don't want to say it, but
No, no, PSR is screwing everybody. That's the thing.
yeah, that's true.
Look, there's two reasons why, right? So the two reasons why, and Newcastle are the biggest example for those two reasons. And this transfer market, two reasons why PSR is just screwing everyone. So, like I said, people can't spend the way, even City, you're seeing City are not really spending the way that they potentially
Sorry,
could.
sorry. Two. Just before you finish out that, though, just going back, look at the financial position this man has left them in. So just factoring in that as well, because we were hearing, remember in January, we were hearing, oh, suddenly, guy went on Talksport, financial expert went on Talksport, was like, Spurs can spend about 300 million, no problem. I don't know why Levy's not doing it. And then suddenly, there'll be the 65 million for hotel. So, just out of curiosity, do you think if they were to have that new ownership on board with the financial position he's put them in, if they purchase and they're stronger financially because of that purchase as well, on top of what they've got already, then do you think they would be in a better position than a Newcastle, than an Aston Villa, so on and so forth?
But remember this, coach, everything's cyclical. And even when you look at when Aston Villa was spending, look at them, they having to sell now. Because the thing is, you may buy and then spend a lot of money, spend a lot of wages, and then come the following season, if you're not successful, that will take into account. Look at Aston Villa, how much money they were spending beforehand, and now this season is like, oh, we can't spend the way because PSR's caught up with you. It catches up on you, so you have to be effective season upon season. So, like I said, they may have money to spend this summer, but then obviously next summer it could be a completely different game. Even Arsenal, they were talking about, oh, they potentially could fall foul of the UEFA regulations.
Mm.
That tells you. But then the second thing is also, as we've seen, just because you have money doesn't mean players want to go to your club.
Facts,
Because
facts.
Tottenham
Yeah.
are bidding for the same player, and the likes of Liverpool, City, Arsenal, even throwing United are coming in for those players. You've seen it. Not everyone wants to go there. And Newcastle are the biggest example of that. Sergio picked United, who finished 15th last season, over Newcastle at Champions League football.
Yeah, yeah.
They picked Arsenal, and obviously that wasn't even a competition. So I don't know why people made a big deal because he supports Arsenal. So of course he's going
Oh,
to
right.
pick
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
over Tottenham. But you're kind of seeing it as like if two or three clubs are going in for a player, people are looking at the history of
Yeah.
the club and the branding of the club rather than saying, "Oh yeah, you finished ahead of this club this season," but that doesn't mean I want to join you. So, like I said, you have those two factors, which means Spurs need to overcome that. And you only overcome that through winning it. And Chelsea, people started joining Chelsea first because of the money, but then afterwards, it was like, oh, they're a competitive team where I can win things. City had to go through that cycle of winning things for people to say, I want to join City. Because it wasn't before, like I said, we laughed at that example, I think, in the last pod. Robinho, if he was going to Manchester United, signed for Manchester City. So that tells you everything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. We'll move away from Spurs. Spurs fans, congratulations. Your insider op has gone. So, well, not from me, but hopefully for you, you have some more joy in your future. You did mention Eze, so we'll caveat straight to Eze, where he made his debut at Anfield for Arsenal in off the bench anyway. So not a full debut, but Arsenal lost 1-0 at Anfield. Cagey affair, but I feel like it was. I don't want to say. I can't even say Liverpool were overly ambitious. They weren't. It was a bit just cagey. Two teams didn't really know what to do with the ball or how to create chances against each other. Um, Maybe due to the selection from both sides. We'll discuss that. But it was a moment of magic, a set piece free kick from Dominic Szoboszlai. Wonderful free kick that well, it closed the game 1-0 for and gave Liverpool the 3 points. Now we'll head straight into this. This season, last season, and previous seasons, you've seen Arteta and Arsenal win a lot of the big games. You want to call them the big six games. You want to call them that. Every game in the league needs to be won, but so on and so forth. Um, and if not win, they don't lose. They draw at least. In this game, the approach, the lineup, the moments where you had attacks. Do you think he was a detriment to the result rather than, well, just go ahead, shoot your shot, man.
Oh, because obviously, when it's funny because people are looking at this as an isolated thing, and when you have
Mm.
to look at this game, because people are just focusing on this game is reflective of what Arsenal have been over the past season and a half, to be honest. And that's what I'm saying. This game isn't isolated to this game. It's been what Arsenal have been throughout the whole of last season, what they were in preseason, and what we were in the previous two games. The reason why Liverpool can play the way they played is for two reasons. One, they've crossed the line, they've won the league. So they can afford to have these performances, right?
Yeah.
Because they've proven to cross the line and win the league. Secondly, they have match winners. So Liverpool can afford to keep things tight, keep things cagey, and know that when we get to 75 minutes plus 80 minutes, they have match winners because of their style of play. We don't have individual game winners in our team. The way we win games is always it has to be like a team effort. Whereas Liverpool have that, whereas like you can keep when you keep it tight like that, sometimes you can rely on individuals. And that game you can tell was going to be determined by individual moment of brilliance, which they have in abundance with the likes of Szoboszlai. And I knew he was going to score that free kick because anyone who's watched him previously for previous club and country will know that he's an excellent free kick taker. An excellent free kick taker, especially from distance. But they have the likes of him, they have the likes of Salah, they have the likes of Ekitike. People who can just win you games off the cuff. Arsenal don't have that. And obviously, like I said, it's Arteta for me just shows a level of cowardice that is not going to win you games. You can't play and have that lineup. Even if you're going to have that lineup, you can't have that style of play and think you're going to win anything throughout the whole of the season. There was just a lack of creativity in that pitch. And like I said, there's so many there's so many things I can discuss with this Arsenal team and where things go wrong. Like for me, it's like Declan Rice. I will bring Banger on again. People always say, I'm like, you spent 105 million on a player, and we're still talking about a lack of creativity in the team. Declan Rice is being played absolutely in the wrong position. He's not an eight and should not be anywhere near the advanced positions. He doesn't have the know-how of the attacking midfielders have to play that position. What Declan Rice is good at is running with the ball in space. So when there's space and driving the ball, fine. But then when you're asking him to operate in tight spaces where he's there already, woeful. For me, Declan Rice should be playing further back. His best attributes, he doesn't have an array of passes that great midfielders has. His best thing is cleaning up, winning the balls and simple passes. Let more creative players in front of him do the work. Marino is just, I don't know what Marino is personally. I don't know what his role is in the team. For me, he doesn't reflect a Spanish midfielder whatsoever in terms of he panics on the ball when it's tight. That for me, it looks like he doesn't know what he's doing on the ball. Zubimendi didn't have a great game, but he's still adjusting to the league. And then when you can look at our attack, there's just no fluidity or synergy between our attack whatsoever. And I want to say something. I'll dispel this fact. People say Madueke had a good game. I thought he had an all right game because when you watch it, there was no end product at the end of anything he did. I mean, he did what I expect from any winger. He took the ball when ran at Kirkes. People are saying, oh, he cooked Kirkes. No, he didn't. Not once did he beat Kirkes. How many times? How many people are saying, oh, he won corners? So what? Came from blocks. He had one strike where, if you look at it, when he cut in, it was supposed to bend it far post, which is what any decent forward will do. If it's Salah, that's being bent far post. When you look at the shot, which was blocked by Kirkes, and then he's shooting their post, and I'm like, that's not a good strike. But that's the issue. We don't have potent attackers. And then I'll say this. I do not understand the criticism of Gyökeres for two reasons. One reason is we're not creating chances for him. And when he's making runs, we're not playing the ball. I'm like, if a striker's receiving no service, how can you criticize him? Ekatike on the other side was just as bad as he is, but the focus is on Gyökeres. I'm like, Ekatike was probably worse in that game than Gyökeres. Secondly, people are complaining. I was like, if you're going to throw long balls with him and ask him to battle with Van Dijk and Kanate on the aerial battle, he's not going to win that battle. So I don't understand why we're trying to go long ball and asking him to do headers and hold up. They're always going to win. So when people are criticizing him for that, I'm like, well, that's the issue of the manager because the manager's not playing him to his strengths where have the midfield kind of work the ball, have him make runs in behind, and then play the ball. Because when you look at Liverpool's first two matches, Newcastle and Bournemouth, what was their issues? The issues because people are running at them, and there were runners off them, and so you find the struggle was when they had to rotate and run backwards. Arsenal did not do that once in that game. It was all throwing the ball, long ball, and physical battles for them to header it, for them to do the physical battle. Of course, they're going to win it. Of course, they're going to win that kind of battle. That's not Gyökeres' game, and those two will eat up that kind of football all day.
Well, so this was what my issue was. When I saw the lineup, I was like, you're killing yourself here because look, I don't like to approach games by saying, oh look, they've been so vulnerable at the back, so you have to attack them full on. That's never been my thing. We know how good those two are as a partnership are for Liverpool, Van Dijk and Konate. They work well together, right? So my issue is if you have signed a number nine, which you've been looking for a long time, you've got a pure nine now, not someone that can play nine, can play 10, can play left, can play. No, he's a nine. He's straight up number nine. He doesn't play anybody else, anywhere else. Right? Then you need to play someone that has the ability to find it. You just have to. Now I can allow Odegaard be on the bench because he's not ready, he's not match fit. I can accept that. But you signed Eze, and Eze has not been missing games for the whole season. He missed a European fixture because he's come to sign for you, and because he signed a bit too late, he couldn't play for you at the Emirates. Other than that, he's ready to go.
Yeah,
He's more than ready to go.
for a week, by the way.
Pardon?
There for a week.
There you go. He's been training with you. He's been working with you. So you need to use him. I understand people, and actually, I don't even understand it. People, I think, have this fear of like, oh, he's a new player to the team. Give him an easier game like a Burnley or this. Why is Burnley an easier game? They're going to look to just physically bully him. They're going to try and hurt him. Let him go in a game where it's competitive, where you expect him. When you have that fixture next at the Emirates, you're expecting Eze to be playing in that game. You're expecting Eze to have an impact. And Eze has been doing that for Crystal Palace against other teams, especially Liverpool, in the league. So play him. Play him. And let him try and build a partnership with Madueke on the right, or Bissaka when Saka comes back, or Martinelli, or
Let's not forget, did it in the Community Shield against Liverpool too, so he has played this team already.
No, exactly. That's my point. He's played. He's done more against Liverpool. He's not a scrub. We'll talk about Martinelli soon. By the way, we'll talk about that guy and Gyökeres. Work with Gyökeres, and then this is why I made that point about Rice, and I was waiting for the perfect game, and this was the perfect game for me. That everything that I was complaining about last season regarding him came to light in this game because for me. It's not that I don't think he can play either. I slightly disagree, but
What does he do?
no. But no. So this is what I'm going to explain. In my opinion, anyway. When you have a three-man midfield or 4-2-3-1, and if you want Rice to be the eight in that two-man partnership in a 4-2-3-1, he's still not going to be a creative force for me. You need someone in front of him that has the creative ability to go and change the game. So starting Mikel Marino next to him is stupid because if you're asking him to do that, it doesn't work. Now, here's my other issue. When he has played Odegaard, it's clear by instruction that he's asked Odegaard to continuously be on the right side near Saka. So you're restricting what he can do across the line because when Odegaard's had his best games, he's impacted from the left, he's impacted from the right, he's impacted from the middle. We've seen it countless times. So you're restricting what he can do as well. So now you're asking players to do things that they shouldn't be doing, nor do they have the natural ability to do, like Declan Rice. Declan Rice can create from set pieces because he's got an excellent ball striking ability. He knows how to whip a ball, he knows how to take a free kicks. That's fantastic. But you don't get corners every 2 seconds. And then this then brings my issue with the fullbacks. Now, Calafiori is a good player, so I ain't got an issue with him per se. But again, is he a left back? Is he a centre back? We're not even 100% sure. This is my issue. You need to sign pure positional footballers. You've like, for example, you just got to sign Hincapié. Hincapié started as a centre back. Then he started going left back for Leverkusen.
Centre back. He's even said he did an interview. He said his best position is centre back. He's like,
So what are we doing here? This is my this is my point, and this is why I keep saying to fans of people that sort of defend Arteta. Arteta and Arsenal will get results because Arsenal are a very good team. They've got very good players. They will get results. Defensively, they're very tough to beat. And they will be tough to beat when you've got four players at the back that are so used to being central defensive-minded centre backs. But
I'll make another point about the defense and what he does after once you're done.
okay, but if you're going to go forward, Ben White is not going to create for you. Calafiori is not going to create for you. Lewis Skelly was able to create on some level because he's already a centre midfielder. He's the passing abilities in him, but he's not a left back. And we found out very quickly that if it's not in the system of Arsenal, he gets killed. He's victimized, right? So now he's signing Cappy as well. And you put him left back, I don't even know what that's for, but sure. This has been my issue with Arsenal. You can come 2 points close to the title. You can come 5 points. It can be 1 point. It can be goal difference. I will keep beating the same drum. There are always games in the season where I look and say the reason why you made a mistake or you didn't win that game is because they took advantage of the fact that you have not got natural players in their positions. It will keep happening, and there will be draws that you get. And I will bang the same drum. I said it to on the free midfield. I said it to two Liverpool fans that I used to go to school with. I said it to them. I said that year when City won it was 99 points, 98 points to Liverpool that season, or 98, 90, whatever it was, that 1 point season. I said to them, the draws are going to kill you because your squad hasn't got enough depth. That when one player's missing, putting Joe Gomez at right back when Trent Alexander-Arnold's not there is not going to work. It's nowhere near the same effect. So when Joe Gomez is struggling at right back, then you got to understand why you're dropping points in the game. So that 1 point that you dropped, those 2 points you dropped somewhere else, they're very important, by the way. They're impactful. So now, you sign Gyökeres, and you're not playing Eze, and you're expecting Declan Rice to do what? Win corners or free kicks and whip balls in all day. And again, like you said, it is crazy to do that against Van Dijk and Konate, two tall, strong centre backs. And then it wasn't even, I won't even call it a stroke of genius. I was going to say that at first, but no, that'd be utterly nonsense. I didn't understand why they played Szoboszlai right back. But at that point, you got to realize they've added another tall player to their backline. So if we whip another ball in, he's going to compete in the air with them as well. You can't approach a game like that and try to go for the aerial / physical battle. Yes, it was a moment of magic that beat you. But what that tells me is if he doesn't score that free kick, you're still not scoring a goal. What happens is it's a 0-0 game. Do you not want the 3 points? Do you not design the 3 points? You can go to Anfield and walk away with 3 points, by the way. It's not the Bernabeu of 2016 to 2018 in the Champions League where you're automatically losing. That you can beat them. Don't be afraid. Saka's not there. Understandable. Odegaard's not fit. Understandable. But your backline is there. Your two of your midfielders, one that you signed to definitely be a fixture of that midfield is there. Declan Rice is there. Gyökeres is available. And you signed a quality attacking midfielder to add to this team. And you don't want to start him in the game. I just find it baffling.
I'll make 4 points quickly, Roger. So first one thing I hated was people acting like Liverpool weren't there to be beat. I said I was Liverpool. I'm like, Liverpool were there to be beat. If you were brave enough We've seen it, the way Newcastle played. We've seen it the way Bournemouth played. We've seen it the way Crystal Palace played in the Community Shield. They're there to be beat. If you actually have a good tactics and take the game to them, they're there to be beat. So people are saying, "Oh, it's Liverpool. It's fine. Going there and leaving with a draw." But I was like, "No, you didn't even try. That's the difference. That is the difference." And people act like, "Oh, these big teams aren't there to be beat." If you have a good manager with good ideas who knows how to utilize his squad properly and his starting 11 properly, you can beat these big teams. The issue with Arteta and Arsenal, we always go with a defeatist mindset when it comes to these big teams away from home.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we do it. You've seen it with all the mid-table clubs. They found a way to play against these big teams and get results there. Not just through like smash and grabs, but look at Brighton when they played City and look how they played in that second half. They took the game to City where they were, you could argue, the better team.
You have to.
But then when it's Arsenal, we go there with such a defeatist attitude. We need to keep it tight. Let's not go and attack them. Let's not take the game to them. But we need to change that mindset first and foremost. Secondly, I do not understand his approach when we have one of the best defenses in the league. I could understand if our defense was shaky and you want to go over more defensive minded lineup to kind of protect the defense. Saliba can defend well. Gabriel can defend well. Timber can defend well. Calafiori, like he did well, so we know he can defend well. Mosquera came on,
He
defended
was
well.
good. He was
So
good.
you have a strong defense, so you don't need to go so tight and defensive minded against Liverpool because you should be able to trust the defense a bit more to give people the license to actually play a bit more. And then my next point, this is when I knew Arteta had no idea what he was doing. And I spoke to my friend Ola about this, and we both agreed on this. The fact that you're bringing up a 15-year-old to
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's, it's
yeah.
I'm sorry, Dalman may be good, but there's no one on this planet Dalman should be seeing the pitch at Anfield at 15
It's
years
so
of
irresponsible.
when you're chasing a game. And you saw when he came on, no impact. And I thought, what Wanyeri must be wondering what on earth is going on. How on earth is this 15-year-old who's only played, who hasn't started a game, he's only played 3 games off the bet, is playing before me. When I have contributed, scored 9 goals for you last season and contributed to you being competitive last season. It's crazy. And that told me for one thing, he doesn't know what he's doing because there's no way on this planet any other managers throwing on a 15-year-old in the 80 something minute when you're 1-0 down against Liverpool and chasing a game. There's certain games you can do it, but not Liverpool at Anfield. Crazy. Like, for instance, I take, for instance, when Slot brought on Rio in the game at Newcastle. At that point, he had already made a lot of subs, and he's like, "Oh, you know what? 90 some minutes, let's throw the dice, go out there and change the game because they're not chasing in terms of the behind. It's like, well, it's tight, but we still want to see if we can get something. But you're not seeing him bring in Rio against Arsenal. He realizes the magnitude of that game. He's like, I'm not throwing a 16-year-old into that kind of environment, even though he's had good games for us. But Arteta throwing on a 15-year-old down, for me, was crazy. And for me, wasn't even talked about enough because it should have, because you have other options on the bench that you can utilize in that kind of environment rather than a down. And I've always said this. People talk about, oh yeah, we have the depth, we have the depth in squad. I said no. The depth was always a problem, but the issue is that we don't have game changers off the bench. When we're behind or chasing the game, I never look at our bench, regardless of who's there, and think any one of those can come on the game and change it because the system doesn't change. All they do is come on and play the exact same way we were playing prior to those substitutions. Whereas other teams can throw on people. Like look at Liverpool when they threw when 2-2 against Bournemouth, throw on Chiesa, throw on a few subs, and look at it. These guys come on to change because at that point you can abandon the structure a bit. Same when they throw in the subs against Newcastle. We can abandon the structure a bit and say we're loosening the reins, guys. Go out there and win the game with individual brilliance.
Yeah.
We don't have that Arsenal. So I said it doesn't matter who we sign. We can sign Messi and Prime Ronaldo. Will not make a difference to our fortune because of how stringent our structure is at Arsenal and the way Arteta restricts the forward line from kind of being creative in terms of trying to score goals and create chances. Doesn't make a difference. The issue we have now is the manager. And listen, I'm at the point, just get rid of him.
Oh, you're
Nothing.
done.
We're done. We're wasting our time with him this season. We're wasting our time. We haven't seen anything different from what we saw last season. The writing's on the wall. We're done.
You know what? You're right. No one spoke about Dalman enough. And you know what? How you say it's Dalman or Dorman? It's
Alman, I think. That's
Dalman, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say this, right? I to this day, I'll say forever because 17 is when you sign your first professional contract. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care if you're Lamine Yamal, I don't care if you're Michael Owen at 16, I don't care if you're Lionel Messi, I don't care if you're Cristiano Ronaldo, I don't care who you are. 15, 16, I don't want to see you on the football pitch. I'm sorry. Unless like you said, unless like we're free.
Lamine kind of proved us wrong with that, to be
Is
honest.
that
Yamal kind of.
no, no, he did, but I still find it irresponsible regardless. I don't care. I don't care. The reason I say this is because look, I understand. Yeah, like Jamal, I use him as an example. He's incredible. He's absolutely incredible. So I understand Barcelona being like, "Whoa, we need this boy. He's so good." But the amount of games he's played already, the number of games he's played already in his career, it's utterly annoyed me because unless they're giving him that that pep injection that he gives some players, you think I don't know that little injection of players here that's given players. The guy's not lasting past 27. He's not, and it worries me. But the reason why the Damo one pissed me off so much, and I'm not gonna even is pissed off. I'm not gonna use a nice calmer term. It's pissed off. One, you are chasing the game. Two, you've already decided that you want this to be a physical affair, and slot in the pre-game interview mentioned the fact that he knew it was going to be a physical game, so he went physical for physical. He matched that. So when Dalman is the running with the ball and Van Dijk sees him, Van Dijk's not going to be like, oh, he's 15 years old, I'm going to allow him. He's going to body him, by the way. Welcome to the Premier League. Welcome to the highest level. You're getting physical with these boys now. Yeah, you can play. All right, cool. Then we'll deal with you the way we deal with the other guys. Free. Again, this is why I'll say to this day, I still don't know what the Madueke signing was for. Because if you spend that money wisely, this 15-year-old boy does not need to come on at Anfield.
Mm.
He doesn't.
Mm.
Buy Eze and buy another midfielder. A little extra one, little one, 10, 15 million creative. That's even why another reason why I was like, you know what, I don't think you guys should actually get rid of Vieira. Don't get me wrong, he's not a great player, so he's not going to be doing anything impactful for Arsenal in the long term. But sometimes,
To be honest, the way he's being used.
yeah, you got these little pieces here that they know their role. You're a fringe player. We need you when we need you. You know what I mean? Other than that, you play your role and you hold it there. And some players have to understand that, and that's okay. I don't understand why he went for that. Even look at the way Liverpool used Rio. You mentioned Rio earlier, right? Rio didn't even get involved with the play too much. He was sort of like in a ghost position. It was stay out wide, and when the moment is there, we attack down the right with Mohamed Salah. And when you cut inside and the ball comes in, do something. There was not much pressure on him. He wasn't involved in anything tough tackling. You're bringing it on a midfielder, someone who plays in the middle, who's in the thick of it. He's 15 years old. Until he's 17, I don't want to see his face, bro. I don't see your mouth either. There's a guy on Twitter who's pretty. And I say I'm pretty. He's very good with academy scouting because he looks at talents from all around the world. And he's, to be fair, 99% of the players that he says are going to be good, they've been good. And he said, this might be a bit ludicrous. It is to me. Until I see it, I won't change my mind. He thinks that Dalman's a bigger talent than Yamal. Until I see that, I want to calm down.
Let me
But
say,
my guy, until you are 17 years old, I don't want to see you. Go and finish your CGP book at home. You're going to do GCSE next year. When you finish that and you go to sixth form or you want to do apprenticeship or whatever you want to do, you want to sign a little contract 17, my boy, do something. My nephew's in the academy thing right now. If he comes home one day at 15 years old and says, oh, coach wants me to play first team, I'll walk with him to the coach and be like, you're mad.
I'll say no.
Mad.
I just what you're saying, Coach. So two things. What first with the Dalman thing? People are over exaggerating with Dalman, to be honest. With the because Dalman's a talent. Let's not get it. He's a very good
Oh, yeah,
talent.
yes, yeah.
But we're talking about a technical talent. I don't see I'm not seeing like him dribble. Like yeah, there's clips of him dribbling, but he's not like a Yamal where Yamal can dribble past players. So when
Yeah.
people are saying like it's better, no, because Yamal has more to his game. Dalman's are very technical in terms of he will maybe beat one man, link up, have a good strike. But when you're talking about talented players, talking about people who can have skill, can dribble, who have other facets again. Dalman's talented. And then secondly, I just wanted to add to your point because you were talking about when Rio came on. When Rio comes on against Newcastle, as I said, and I agree with you in terms, he's coming on in a less pressurized environment because he's coming on with the intention that we want to win the game. There's less pressure when you want to win the game. When you want to win the game, because when it's 2-2, some managers may ring up and say, hey, listen, we want to keep the score as it is, so we need you to do like a shift. That's pressure on the lad because then he has to concentrate and make sure he's tracking his runner or make sure that he's fully concentrated. That's pressure. when you're bringing on someone and say, hey, listen, we want to win this game, the whole person winning, there's less pressure because then it's like, oh, I can be a bit more freer. I
Yeah,
don't need to do as much defensive duties. Obviously, I have my defensive, but not as much. So that's pressure. No, no. So that's not pressure. No, sorry. So that's less pressure. And obviously, you're bringing them on where it's like, if we don't win, it's not the end of the world. We can walk away with a draw, but let's just see if we can win. Whereas when you're bringing on Dalman, you're bringing them like, we want to get something from this game. We need a draw. We need a win. That's pressure. Should not be in that kind of environment,
thank you,
especially away from home at Anfield.
thank
At
you.
Emirates, okay, maybe, just maybe. I still wouldn't do it, but maybe. But at Anfield, are you crazy?
I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I just. Anyway, you know what? I hope the boy continues to develop because he is a good talent. You can see it. He is a good talent. I just don't. I think the fact that his name has come out quite publicly, and yes, he is a talent, but sometimes you don't need to force that. You know, let him ease in. I thought it was completely
Like
irresponsible to
League
get him to
Cup
change the
games
game.
against small teams, FA Cup games against small teams. Maybe bring in one like Leeds when you're winning about, I don't know, 3-4-0, whatever the score was at the time. Where there's less pressure, it's like, okay, you can go and express yourself a bit
Thank you.
because we have that. Not in that kind of environment. That for me, that told me exactly this manager has no clue what he's doing. No clue.
Well, pressure's on, as we said this season. You need to win one of the big two as the manager of Arsenal, or
We're not winning anything. I'm telling people now, we're not winning anything. We're not. We've wasted preseason. We don't have a different style of play. Still the same nonsense we're seeing from last season, where
Mm,
we're looking to win games by set pieces and no creativity. He hasn't evolved. So I just want him gone at this point. It doesn't look like we're going to win anything. And then secondly, it's not enjoyable to watch whatsoever. It's not enjoyable at all.
fair. All right. Last topic. Transfer window's closed. Unfortunately, Anana's still part of my life, but I think we're very close to getting him out of the door. I hope so. Sorry, hopefully someone in Turkey or Saudi wants to take a punt. A little loan. I don't mind. Just something, man. Just get him gone. But transfers. Yeah, man. Isaac finally has gone to Liverpool.
Yeah,
Finally.
Newcastle are just pathetic with that one, to be honest. No, yeah, honestly, they are. They are. I mean, like I said, they got their pants absolutely pulled. Liverpool
Yeah.
stole their targets. United stole their target. For me, I know people are saying like, "Oh, at that point, you should let Isak go." But for me, if you're a serious club, you do not let things escalate the way it did, and then let the player then leave. For me,
Yeah.
it just showed for me Newcastle should never ever think they're in the realms of a big club whatsoever, because you're talking about one, a guy in a 3-year contract. Two, he's like your mate, your best player, your best player. Three, he's kicked up a fuss and has basically told you, I'm never playing for you again, and and behaved so badly in the way that he's dealt with you. And you've then allowed him to then have that move. For me, that shows me that for me, especially a guy with if he had 1 year left on his contract, I could understand like a gay situation. He has 3 years left on his contract. For me, the better sign would have been not allowing the player to have what he wants, because I know people say disrupt, whether you use him or not, that's another thing. But I think it kind of gives an element of you have the power and that you're a serious institution when you don't allow players to kind of bully their way into that kind of move.
Yeah.
I don't mind him going, it happens, but for me, it's the manners to it. I don't mind the manners which he did from a personal perspective, but I look at it from a club perspective. I'm like, it shows you're weak, because now what it will show is that if any big club comes for any of your players and they kick up a fuss, they're going to get that player. You
Yeah.
you set a precedent that if I you set a precedent, if I'm a big club, bigger club than Newcastle, if I want your player, we're getting your player, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's the precedent it set.
I think they should have sold him a lot earlier
A
than
lot
they did.
earlier, it would have spared
Yeah.
their blushes if they did it earlier.
I think me personally, obviously, looking at how we dealt with Cristiano Ronaldo, I know it's a long time, things have changed in football, but in terms of how you lose a big player, obviously we had him for one more year after. We set pace with him. We said, look, you're gonna pay 1 more year here, and then this is the fee that we command from them. If they pay it,
Mm.
you go. Simple as that. And that was agreed, right? Obviously, you had that as well with the player that okay, he said he wants to leave at the end of next season. So he's going to give his all this season. And he reiterated that to you. Like, don't forget, we had this conversation. You know, I want to go. Let me leave. Fine. And then at that point, it's even amicable. So if the rumors come out now, he wants to go to Liverpool,
Mm.
act like a chesty club and be like, you know what? No one's bigger than us. Fine. This is what the fee is. You rejected the what, 120, and I think you even went out there. The press was saying 150. That's why I was saying to groups, the group chat, and people saying, I think you guys to be 150 or it doesn't happen. But I was assuming that that would happen earlier. As the transfer window started getting to near the end, I was like, in my head, I was like, you're either going to keep a player who just does not desire to be there whatsoever, and that's going to be peak for you because he's not going to give you the level of performance that you need require if you try to integrate him back into the team. And two, you're going to have to accept a lesser fee than the 150. You took 130, it's 10 million more. So really and truly, you should have gone to Liverpool and said, we want 150, but this is how you should do it. Maybe structure it a bit differently. So you get that fixed 100, 110, 120 straight, and then the rest comes through performances or whatever. Because whether people like it or not, with Liverpool, it's not out of the realm for you to say win a Champions League and pay us 10 million or win the Premier League and pay us 10 million next season. Like it's doable. It's absolutely doable. You'll get your money. But power play that. Because if you go into that position and say, we sold Iza, he doesn't want to be here, fine. He's gone, but we're going to make sure we get maximum profit for him. Then you get your money, you go to the players and you say, if you want to leave, this is how we run things. You didn't run it. You didn't run it properly. Why did you allow it to get so far? And then you signed over the odds for the boy from Germany. I won't say his name. I haven't learned how to say it properly yet. That fee baffled me because Bayern offered a third of that and told the club we're not going higher than that because he doesn't cost more than that. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. Wissa, which I found to be completely baffling because from day one, Brentford told you 55 to 60 million pounds, and he kept on bidding lower and lower.
No, you gave them.
You bid to 55 anyway on the last day. What are we doing here? You could have had him integrated early. So at the beginning of the season, you're not playing Anthony Gordon as a number nine because he can't play number nine effectively. You're playing an actual number nine in the position. It's just so baffling.
And here's the thing, Kodjo. Here's what people don't realize, right? And here's what I'm saying. Newcastle got their pants out because when you look at Isak is one of the top strikers in world football, right?
Mm.
The fee is closer to some of the fees that people played for bang average players.
Yeah.
Or even bang average players or players who have yet to do anything. The fee's very close to what they played. Liverpool will pay entirely for Ekitike. It's completely close to the fee that they're going to pay for this young kid. Completely close to, like, when you look at some of the money that's been spent by some of the clubs, and the fee itself is a very low fee when you consider his standing and status in his position in world football. The fact that he left for 125 million, they should have commanded 150 million
Yeah.
minimum, minimum for that player. To
Because,
be honest.
because if they don't get Isak, who on his level are you getting?
Yeah, but exactly. So the fact that they've even had to compromise on the fee, because for me, they could have easily said to Liverpool, if you really want the player, 150, or you could say 130 plus 20 million add-ons, take or leave it.
Yeah.
And if Liverpool really want him, they will pay that money for him.
Yeah.
They pay
No,
that
yeah.
money.
Yeah, they would. And they probably would have.
I don't, they would have. At that point, Liverpool realized you guys are desperate to get the guy out. He wants to come here. There's your money. And Newcastle just went and accepted that fee. Oh,
No,
honestly.
I was watching their moves, and obviously Newcastle fans were completely in their feelings. So someone that I've got to know for quite some time, suddenly just don't follow me on Twitter because she didn't like what I was saying. but shout out her every time, man. She's not a bad person. I think she was just it's just an emotional time for them right now. But this is this is what football is. This is the power play that you need to understand now. Like this is not it's not a simple game here. If you want to be a big team, sometimes your biggest players, regardless of your standing, will want to leave. And that's why I use the example of Ronaldo, because the first time he wanted to leave, we had won the Premier League and Champions League. You've only qualified for the Champions League and he wants to get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I will say the time that Ronaldo went to go to Real Madrid, that's when Barcelona were running things in Spain. So we were still, in my opinion, the attractive option. We've just won the Champions League. We got to another final the following year. Madrid got knocked out around the 16 again. Barcelona won the league there again. Real Madrid had not recruited well again, but he still wanted to go. That's the order of football. It's just what it is. So Newcastle can do what they want. You won your first trophy in how many years? He led the line, and that's beautiful. It's fantastic. Liverpool are champions, and on top of that, they got a better history than you. He's going. Take
I'll
the
give
money and leave.
another to like two examples. You could use even Man City and Edison, who left in the end. But
Yeah,
remember, he wanted to leave last season, and Manchester City blocked that move
yeah.
from last season. I think was it the Saudi bid that was coming in, and they blocked it. Said, yeah, here's the fee. If you're not going to give us the fee, go nowhere. Same, you look at Chelsea with how they play use Nicholas, which was quite bad. But
Yeah,
obviously, they complete something. Oh, situation's changing. That deal's not happening until we sort out our striking situation. It's not happening. Obviously, they sorted it out. I mean, it's like brought back Guy from Sunderland. So, okay, you can go now.
yeah,
But that's how big clubs operate. Where it's like, and even Chelsea with how they've commanded fees even before Chukwuemeni left for Dortmund, they rejected a couple of fees. Said, if this is not what you're paying for these players, they're not going anywhere. They can sit in the reserves as much as they can. They're
yeah.
not going anywhere. Sterling's still there. Ben Chilwell, we're not talking about that deal, but the likes of Sterling is still there. And it's like, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But that's how a big club operates in terms of if it's not done by our terms, we are of this stature club where it's not happening. The player can kick up a fuss, the club can kick up a fuss, it's not happening.
Yeah. They've dealt with it so badly. They've dealt with it so badly. And look, they have they have improved. Oh no, so I don't want to say improved, that's the wrong word. They have recruited. They've got two new players in. So we'll see how that happens with the forward line. I don't know what their plan is to go two up top, if they're gonna go one up top still and do whatever, but it's just it's a baffling time. It's a baffling time at Newcastle right now.
There's other transfers that happen. We'll talk about briefly. I think Jadon Sancho leaving. I mean, his agent has played a blinder, to be honest, because the fact I think United, I mean, like I said, we'll forget Arsenal have sold badly in the and obviously Arsenal have a record of selling badly, so we won't even mention Arsenal. But the fact that you have two players in Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho who should be able to command some kind of
Mm.
and they both gone out on loan is quite tragic. And obviously, like I said, it's kind of a lesson for clubs to learn. And Arsenal have been guilty of this for many times where stop overpaying these players and wages. Because people always think, oh, you can even you people even think you can even sell them for 5 million. You can't if their wages are so high because they're going to demand the same wages from these clubs.
Yeah.
And these people say, well, I'm not leaving until my wage, I'll run down my contract bill until my wages are matched. They're not going to leave the club. It doesn't matter how low of a fee it is because Sancho for 20 million is a reasonable fee for someone who hasn't performed over the last 5, 6 years, but he's going nowhere because of his wages. And then he gets a move to Villa where his wages are still being paid. Rashford is another one. No one wanted to pay the fee and the wages. He's gone to Barcelona, where it's still a big club, and I can still be on the same wages that I'm on until that contract runs out.
Well, so the reason why I've been calm with Ineos regarding those loans or
Not
the
the problem
deal.
because that was before them. So like I said, I don't blame them for that, but I'm just saying problem.
No, but even with that, the way they've negotiated deals have been very good because Barcelona are paying Rashford's full wages. I don't even know why they agreed to that in the first place, but sure. Aston Villa paying 80% of Sancho's wages. So like they've done a lot to get these sort of finances off the book a little bit. And the added bonus that a lot of people forget is when United are not in your point blank period, your wage gets cut by like almost 25% as well. So he's not on the Rashford's not on his 350 or whatever now. Sancho's not on his 300, 200. I don't know what he's on right now. It's obviously very high though. Um, so they've done well in that regard. But yeah, we should be able to kind of command the fee. I think the issue is look,
Mm,
because as a whole, the club have not played well at all. And the players obviously match that. And then when they go on their loans, they've not played well there either. Um, Clubs are going to be like, well, we're not going to pay, we're not paying this much. And even you as the player, the wage you're trying to ask for, we're not going to give that to you. Sancho, in my opinion, people can say what otherwise. In my opinion, was very lucky to be offered 180 by Chelsea
yeah.
because he didn't play to
Well,
be sort of a 180k a week player at Chelsea. You didn't play like that. You didn't play on the level of Cole Palmer. You didn't play Neto's level, let alone Cole Palmer. So I think he was lucky to get that, and that's your boyhood club. You support that club, so the fact that he didn't want to go for that wage for me was ludicrous. But it's what it is.
yeah.
Rashford, even to be fair, there's nothing to say about him just because I don't know why Barcelona disagreed to that deal in the first place. I find that insane. A club that is crippled financially, paying a full 350k is is ludicrous. But
But I do have like these 2 3 points that I'd like to ask you a question on to you. So the first one is on so obviously at some point we'll probably touch on Gay he transfer last
yeah,
time.
yeah,
I do have 2 questions related to Manchester United. So the first one is the Garnacho deal and where Garnacho fits in with Chelsea. And then my second one to you before touching Gay is this Sheshko deal. What you think about how I don't know, like he's not really being utilized. So what do you think of the player and whether he'll be a hit for United? So we can start with Ganacho first and we can touch on Sheshko.
Yes, so Garnacho, to be fair, you can see how I'm smiling. I need the guy at the club already, man. I wouldn't even gone a long time ago, man. So I'm delighted with that. There is. It's because sometimes I don't like the conversation of this guy's ego, this because we don't know the players personally, right? But
Oh,
his one was very visible. You could see that he has that boasted ego about him. And for me, it's like if you're gonna have that ego, then go out there and perform. You know what I'm saying? On a consistent basis. Like back in the day when we weren't on Twitter and all that, talking all that stuff. We were looking at sports media on the news and in newspapers and the websites, visiting websites and reading things. And every time people were like, "Oh, I don't like an arrogant player like Henry," I'm like, "Well, you know why he's arrogant? Because he's damn good and he proves it every single week. You haven't done that." So I'm happy that he's gone. Where he fits in at Chelsea, the answer to that question, honestly, bro, I couldn't care less.
I really think of that. I don't think because people are saying I don't think he's going to get any games at Chelsea. Let me tell you why. Because what will
Oh,
happen? Let me tell you his future. He will start some games, he'll come off the bench. But he's for me, I don't think he's a good player whatsoever. I think what it is he's come through very young. And I always say to people, players coming through young doesn't mean anything.
yeah.
Everyone comes to football at some age or profession. So I always judge it. You come in young, okay, how good are you? And I've looked at him and I said, he's not good. He's just lucky he's coming young. So people always think young players are talents. Not every young player is a talent because you may have a bang average player who's at 26 who might have come through at 18, but then you reach 26 and you realize he's not a good player. Every player has to show their ability at some point. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. And I look at him as that he's just not a good player. He's not a good dribbler. Doesn't really beat. He reminds a lot of Martinelli. Doesn't really beat his man. Rarely beats his man. Okay, not a great striker of the ball. So I'm like, so what's talented about this player? The only thing is that he's just a young player playing regular football on a consistent basis. Not good. And I look at that Chelsea team, right? With the amount of players that they even have the likes of Gittins, who's a better player than him. So I'm like, what will happen is he'll play some games, come off the bench. He's not going to have much output because I'm telling you, he's not a good player. I mean, at some point, he's going to fade into the back, and Chelsea are going to look to sell him at some point. And we'll see. And I know that there's going to be a club stupid enough to give Chelsea 70, 80 million pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because we see, I thought it was crazy. I thought it would never happen. Chelsea being able to sell these players for some of these players for profit. They've proven me wrong. The Nicholas Jackson deal for me is the one that blew my mind.
The worst deal in the
I mean, someone
the
should
worst
root
deal.
up those buying hierarchy. But then that told me, oh, Chelsea can do anything. So this player is going to leave at some point for 60, 70 million, and some club is going to pay for him. And you're going to see he's just going to fade into the distance because I don't think he's a good player.
Well, thing is, I don't wish him any bad. If he
I don't
performs well
wish
at
him back, but I
Chelsea,
just don't think he's not good. That's my thing. That's my
no, I know you're not wishing him bad. I'm just talking from a United perspective because a lot of people that support United are definitely wishing him bad. But I don't wish him bad at all. If he performs and he does well and he finds his call in there, that's great. But it wasn't going to be at United, whether we were good or not. It just wasn't at United, and to be quite frank, I couldn't care less. Get out. The Sesko deal, I'm happy with Sesko. So he's been very vocal in saying that he's not been fit, so and he's not been ready. So obviously, when he played against the dreaded day in Grimsby. Uh, when he played that game, he played the full 120, didn't he? And then he got a cramp, a really bad cramp. So that's why he took the 10th penalty, not an earlier penalty. So he had to try and rest it, stretch it, and then obviously get his penalty in there, which he did. He scored that. But he's not fit to start going yet. So he's been vocal in saying that he hopes that he can get maybe 60, 70 minutes with his country per game just to get his engine running. But he wants to get used to that because he wants to get back on the pitch for United, starting games, being physical, linking up, trying to score goals. So he's been very open in that. So I think he'll be utilized. I'm thinking straight in there because we're playing City next, I think. So we need him ready and firing and ready to go. So hopefully soon. What made me laugh about the deal, and that it relates back to Newcastle, is again, this is a player that we just knew was always going to come to United if it was a choice between the two. I remember going to group chats
Yeah.
and I was talking as if like I'm an ITK. I was like, guys, he's coming. Guys, he's coming. Like, no, don't worry, it's happening. No, but Newcastle said, no, boys, he's coming. Don't worry. If it's a choice between Man United and Newcastle right now, he's not going to Newcastle United. He's going to Man United. Just breathe. And what I laughed at the day that Newcastle went and paid and offered beyond what was actually required because like you're wasting your time here. Unless Man United actually say we don't want him anymore, he's not coming to your club.
But
So
like, and the fact United was so confident, told you everything.
yeah. So I wouldn't bid. If it comes out that United have withdrawn their interest, then I'll get myself in there because I'm like, he wants to come to the Premier League, he wants to play. We'll take him. But until then, are you wasting your time? You've embarrassed yourself with that one. But yeah, no, I knew he was gonna come, so I wasn't worried about that. I was more concerned about sales. Anthony gone, fantastic. Um, Garnacho gone, fantastic. Rashford,
One quick one. Bayern, I need to go flog that Bayern hierarchy again because
go for it.
Anthony said he rejected more money at Bayern.
Oh, bloody hell, yeah.
I was thinking, what is going on at Bayern? They overpaid for Luis Diaz. They've overpaid for Nicholas Jackson. They wanted Anthony. What on earth is going on at Bayern Munich?
Honestly, what a joke, man. I don't get it because who they lost? Coleman's gone. I know that for sure. He's gone to Saudi.
Martial is injured for a while. But Coleman's the only one that's there. Sane's gone. So
Yeah.
I understand they need signings, but let's be sensible. We were talking like act like you're a big club by a minute.
Yeah.
To be honest, in terms of how much they paid for Luis Diaz, the Nicholas Jackson deal, the fact that they wanted Anthony, who else? There's other players that they wanted, and I was a question.
Yeah. Nah, yeah, that's truly baffling. Oh, quickly before we finish, Bundesliga. Now, I just want to say, when I speak on certain managers, yeah, everyone just
Let's leave it. Let's give him grace and leave him.
nah, I ain't giving him Nike. I'm sorry, I'm not. I'm not. I will say this with my chest. When it comes to certain managers, I will say it's the player. He was there, and I said, guys, he is the problem. And when he got sacked, you saw the draw on my face. I should God forgive me. I should never celebrate the fact that someone has lost their job. God forgive me. But this one, listen, 2 games in, he got sacked, bro. I almost did Hulk Hogan, Mouse. I almost ripped the shirt. I was like, yes. I've never felt so vindicated because everything that has come out since has been my fears about how he was managing my club. I will talk about the players and how they underperformed all day long. Absolutely. But he didn't do his job. And I was not fooled by a League Cup and the FA Cup. You will never fool me. This is a horrendous um deal for Leverkusen and for him. 2 games.
I mean, the thing is that they should. I say this: did they not do their due diligence in it? I mean, even when they decided to bring me in as manager, for me, I thought Eric Ten Hag first thing just do a rebuild. So let him go to I don't know, a less like a club where there's less pressure. Let him build himself back up again before
Yeah.
he said take him again. We saw what happened at United. We saw how messy it was. So why would a club like Leverkusen, who had Xabi Alonso, who finished second last season, won the league and the cup the season before, and got to Europa League final? Why
Yeah.
would you go for Eric Ten Hag? Like that comes with a lot of risk, and we've seen like the issues that occurred when he got and the fact that, like I said, he was sacked after 2 games tells you there was a lot of issues
Yeah.
going on because
You
nobody,
know,
even no one sacks a manager after 2 games. Like look at Nuno, he has problems with Edu and the owner, but they're not foolish enough to sack him. Like things have to be very bad for them to say Nuno, hey, like here's your P45. So things must have been really bad for them to say after 2 games you're gone.
well, it's not the owner. It's definitely one of the executives or the chairman. Anyway, he came out and said, "Look, we had very good conversations with him. We didn't just sign him straight away. We had long conversations with him about plans, about his what he wants to do with the staff, the continuity with the players and everything. So it looked like okay, we can build something here. And we knew that some players were leaving, so it has to be a rebuild. But then his agency saying sign our players, which happened at United, that SCG connection. My God, all these things coming out. But you know what it is for me? Me, sometimes I can be a very bad guy. I watched Leverkusen's 2 games. I watched them from start to finish, bro. I made sure I watched these games. That first one at home when they lost 2-1, I sat there and I looked at my kid. I looked at my kid and I said, I told you. I said she knows what's going on. And then the second one, because I do a European pod with one of my boys, and they were 3-1 up. Bremen went out down to 10 men. So yeah, it was 2-1. Bremen went down to 10 men. They conceded a penalty. two yellow cards. He went off. They made it 3-1. And he said, I'm switching channel. And I said, bro, this game's not over. And he said, no, no, it's done. I said, it's not over. And it ended up 3-3. And on some level, it makes me sad to say that because that's the exact feeling I had at United. And the whole time we were there, we've done this podcast for a while, bro. There's not been one time where I've spoken about a convincing Man United performance under Amarim. I'm sorry, no, under Ten Hag. Amarim's even another one, but under Ten Hag, I've not had that day where I've like been like, this has been solid. We've taken the 3 points. Man United dominated from start to finish. It was done. There was always an like a nervousness
Yeah.
about the games because his management doesn't see games out convincingly. There's always a wobble. And you could see after that 2-1 loss at home, the players were like,
Yeah, what's going on there?
what's going on? Because they went down to 10 men. And he almost ignored the fact that they lost a centre back. You're playing three at the back, and you ignore the fact that you lose a centre back. So that he didn't make any changes to address that. He just sort of just so they just started going down that channel. Was like, well, sure, it's easy, and they went and they lost the game. Like it's just things like that. You could just see from a mile away that he's just not going to work out. So look, I think you're right. I think personally, if I'm him, I take a long break from football, a long break, 2-3 years.
I
Get
know.
you.
Yeah, and then obviously Bro Brilliant.
Nah, me personally, 2-3 years. No, because bro, I think he needs to really recharge his batteries and really think about where and what he wants to do next in terms of where he would like to manage. And it's not even about only being in the top league; it can be any sort of league. But where he would like to manage in country, that's one. Maybe it's going back home to Holland, could be. Number two, obviously his style of football has not worked. It worked at Ajax, but Ajax have an Ajax model. So you don't deviate from that, whether you're Ajax manager, coach, wherever. So they have an Ajax model. You've gone to other clubs, your style has not convincingly worked over the period of times you've been there. And Leverkusen maybe 5 years ago would have been not much of a pressure job because Bayern is expected to win the league, but they went unbeaten and won the league, as you said, won the cup and got to a European final. So the pressure was huge. 2-3 years, recharge your batteries, think about your tactics. It could be 1 year, it could be 1 year, it could be new and all on. But me personally, 2 to 3 years, just sit back, relax, maybe do punditry here and there, think about your game, think about what you're trying to build. Maybe get new staff because apparently you and the staff didn't even agree at Leverkusen. So that's another conversation in itself. Maybe you need to change things there. And then when you get into your new job, start afresh and feel replenished and ready because you made a lot of money from sackings, but you've also been sacked quite brutally in your last two jobs. And might be just time to sort of step away a little bit and be like, okay, I need some me time, spend time with the family and think things over and take time. But look, man, when he got fired, I sort of just sat around. There was no one in the house. I was just like, has anyone else seen this? Like, guys,
Bad guy.
gosh. But
Finally,
yeah,
we're just gonna maybe 2, 3 minutes on this. Like Gahey transfer. I'll let you
yes.
start your thoughts on
Um,
how that transpired and was conducted.
I found that one funny. I hope, by the way, the story of Parrish
The
going to the gym or doing whatever it was beforehand, and then I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true. But again, this is while I was talking about Newcastle and the Worcester situation. I'm sure the agent of Gay made you aware of what Palace would look for in a price for Gay because they were ready to look for a replacement as soon as the bid came in. Obviously, it didn't happen. So they sort of just, I mean, from what I read, Glasner had a conversation with Gay. Gay was just not very happy. He's not obviously happy that the move has crumbled because in a move to one of the biggest clubs in the world, he wants to have that challenge. But they've obviously said if we let you go now, we're in a tough position. So I think in January he'll go for a lesser fee because you have 6 months left on his contract. But they'll probably have to bite that bullet and then let him go, and then they'll bring someone else in.
could be run on the free to us. But I blame like I said, these clubs, I'll never understand these clubs. For me, yeah, I don't understand why deals are still being done at transfer deadline day. Like clubs for me, yeah, the fact that we still have transfer deadline day drama still in 2025 for me, it's absurd to me.
Yeah,
Because if you're a serious club, you get your business done early, so you don't need to even entertain this nonsense. If Liverpool really wanted him, they could have gone for him a lot earlier.
Thank you.
A
Thank you.
lot, obviously, Palace would have told you, hey, we need to find a replacement. But if you show your intent early, then it's like, all right, we want your player. We're still giving you enough time to find that replacement. So if they really wanted, why not go for him 2, 3 weeks earlier into the transfer market? That way, you avoid all of this nonsense. Because when you're, like I said, when it's in the balance and we need to find a replacement,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's the same with the Isak deal. It's in the balance because Newcastle are thinking we need to find a replacement, and it goes negative against Newcastle because they're having to pay over the odds for these strikers because they're desperate for a replacement. It's like it's either now or never. We get these replacements or we don't. Because you leave it so late. Have these conversations and these agreements a lot earlier
Yeah.
before transfer deadline day, and they're sorted. That's why I like what City were doing. Hey, our business is sorted. They brought in the players very early in the market.
Yeah.
The only thing they were dealing with, well, was outgoings. Obviously, Donnarumma did come in last minute, but I'm telling you now, City probably would have been fine if they didn't get Donnarumma.
Yeah.
Because Donnarumma wasn't a desperate, we need a goalkeeper. It's like, okay, if the Edison deal gets done, he goes. If it doesn't, then we're fine. But you kind of have to use it as an opportunity, not like, oh yeah, we're coming in hard for this player and then we're leaving it in the balance. It's crazy. And for me, it just shows, you know what, sometimes you have to act like the bad guy. Like Gay, I think there's a lesson learned for Gay, and I think what you're gonna now see, you're gonna see a lot more bad behavior of some footballers because they would have seen Johan Wissa, they would have seen Gyökeres,
Yeah.
they would have seen Isak
Yeah.
all pick up a fuss and get the moves that they want. And they would have seen someone like Gay kind of behave like how everybody wants a footballer to behave and not get that move. And I think footballers will look at that as a they will look at that as a benchmark and look at that as an example and say and a case study and say, hey, if we really want to move, we're not going to behave. Because look at what happened to Gay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Respected the manager, the owner, didn't get the move in the end. They blocked it.
But players also have to look at it from this angle as well. I mean, Isaac, I would say, I mean, Liverpool made it clear from early that they tried to get you. So your club, that one, I will never condone the behavior, but I understand the annoyance of, we had the conversations from time ago. You know what's coming, right? With Gay, if I'm him, I understand the annoyance, but I'm gonna sit there one day and be like, you know what? You knew I wanted this move, and if you wanted me, make that offer from time ago.
Because
Then
they all know he's not signing a contract. So you know a move is there to be done.
yeah, so get it done. Get it done. You've got the finances. You've been spending money everywhere quite for players. Bring me in then. Like that's I think it's sometimes the club that wants to buy the player gets away with murder a lot because they obviously are trying to bid for the player and this, that, and the other. But if you know that the player is available, this slow behavior doesn't make any sort of sense. Make the player come. Like that's what's happened with Sesko, with us getting Sesko, because when we got Sesko, obviously it was made very, very clear at some point that Gyökeres is just a no-no. It's not happening. Like he's going to Arsenal or bust. Like he's not coming to United. So okay, we have to go somewhere else then. Newcastle went for Wissa, then didn't make the money that bids the money required for Wissa. Then went for Strand Larsen, almost paid way over the odds for Strand Larsen. Luckily enough, Wolves rejected it, which I think was ludicrous, by the way. And then you go back to Wissa and you pay over the odds for him anyway. Then you're gonna pay over the odds for this fella. Like it's just the buying clubs sometimes they just do stupidity and stupid behavior. Sometimes as a player, you got to analyze and be like,
And,
what's
and
going
let's not, and I'll use this. Let's not forget my club too. People forget we paid more than Eze's release clause to get Eze into the club. The release clause that was there before it expired.
on? Oh yeah,
The release clause was cheaper than what we paid
yeah,
to come into the club. And it's like I said, it's things like that. If you want to play, go and get it done. Stop dilly dallying until your rivals show that they won in 10 and okay, someone gets injured for one. Go and get your players. Stop messing around. And these clubs need to stop it.
and on that. If some reports are there to be true, if he doesn't call Arteta that day to be like, is there still a chance for me to join Arsenal? Do Arsenal even make that bid?
No, maybe not.
It's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And Spurs would have played him, by the way. They would have started him from the beginning.
100%. But I'll say this. Just now you're going to see bad behaviors from players from now on. It's going to be a thing now. So all of these people like what's his name? What's that commentator's name? He was arguing with Joe Hart. I forgot his
Oh God. Oh gosh, I forgot already.
I forgot his name now to be
Chris Sutton?
Chris Sutton, that's it. People
Yeah.
like Chris Sutton and all of these people complain. I'm like, get ready to complain more because everyone's going to be behaving badly when they want their moves. Watch. Watch.
It's the way of the world, man. It's the way of the world. Oh, sorry, before we finish, one person that still hasn't left. I'm happy Chelsea didn't sell this player. Raheem Sterling. Shame. Pay his wages. Foolish guys, man. I'm happy about that one. God. And
Yeah.
Tyreek George as well. Trying to get
Yeah.
22 million off Fulham, man. Get out of here. That's all it's all corrupt business, man. What are you doing? I'm not having that.
No, but I do, no, but in that, I'll say this before we end, I do feel safe for Sterling because I
Yeah.
think to go out and play football, I think he'll probably get a loan because I don't know whether loan markets are still open in certain
They are
countries.
open if you're going. So basically, you can only go Turkey or um Saudi if it's a loan or a permanent instead of like leaving the club for a club that's in like the higher tiers of their leagues. If it's in England, he can only go championship if it's a loan now. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's either he waits it out till January and gets a loan, but yeah, I do like. I'm happy that listen, you're still rinsing this club for their money, but I do feel sorry for him that oh, you're not playing football because
yeah,
really, he hasn't done anything wrong. And it, like I said, it goes back to the other side where people talk about oh, the loyalty, the way these players have behaved is a disgrace, blah blah blah. But okay, here's a player here hasn't done anything wrong, trained hard, not put for wrong. And Chelsea said you're isolated, train
yep,
away from us. We don't require your service. So it's like you want loyalty from a player, but the club can't show the same level of loyalty. He signed whatever 5, 6 year contract deal. He should be able to honor that deal playing and training with the club, but he's
yeah,
not allowed to do that. So there you go. That's what I'm all for players doing what they want to get to facilitate whatever moves that they want. I'm all for it. Doesn't matter how
yeah.
bad, because like clubs don't show no loyalties. Like look at how Arsenal treated the likes of Mesut Ozil when we forced him out.
Yes, yes,
Look
yeah.
how we treated Aubameyang, to be honest. So I'm like, clubs show no loyalty. So if players want to be, even if it's my club, if players want to behave badly, so be it. Think about yourselves, because clubs do not care about you.
Facts, facts, facts. And you're right because of the last thing I'll say on this is someone. Well, everyone's heard it. Football's a short game. At the end of the day, it's only 20 years of your whole life. And if you get injured, it's a serious injury, you don't recover, that club disregards you. So
Exactly.
if it's your career, make the move, man. All right. Well, we've ranted enough on this one. It's been fun. If you are if you're watching, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Definitely hit that like and subscribe, those like and subscribe buttons for sure. Let us know how you feel about Levy, about Arteta's approach to big games, all the transfer business as well. Just go wild. And yeah, anything to plug, Basil?
Nothing to plug. Same as Kojo.
All
Like,
right, cool. You'll find Basil at the next major tennis tournament for sure, man. Don't worry about that. You'll be watching your TV center court right there. It's gonna be at the top, in the VIP seats. But yeah, everyone else, thank you for watching, and yeah, on to the next show, whenever that is. Peace.